Welcome to the Hadera-Eiron Partnership2Gether podcast. Our partnership connects communities from the Hadera-Eiron region in Israel with 9 Jewish communities across the southeastern United States and the Czech Republic, planting seeds of connection that grow into lasting, meaningful relationships. This episode is produced within the L2G Local to Global program, with guests sharing personal stories and experiences, celebrating our differences while exploring the unifying foundations that build family-like bonds.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Barbara Dabb. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm the Chief Communications Officer of the Jewish Federation of Greater Nashville. I'm editor of the Jewish Observer newspaper, and I am thrilled and honored to be your host for this fabulous podcast, What Makes Us a Family. I think we're going to learn some really cool things today about what makes us a family with our brothers and sisters in the Czech Republic, as well as in our partnership region of Hadera-Eiron. So I have with me today 2 fantastic guests. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Peter, why don't you kick us off here?
I'm Peter Paposhek. I'm the president of the Federation of Jewish Communities in the Czech Republic, and also I run one of the small communities in the Czech Republic.
Hi, I'm Dalia Lahmany. I'm the Israeli co-chair of the Hadera-Eiron Partnership, and I'm here to share with you the interesting history and interesting conversation about Prague and this partnership.
First of all, I just have to say it's really cool because we are 3 people, 3 different time zones, 3 different countries, and we're all coming together to show exactly how we are a family and how we are connected across the oceans and across the continents. So that's very exciting and moving to me. And I hope that anybody who's listening and watching this podcast can get that sense, because although we are separated by thousands of miles, we are connected. Peter, I guess we were speaking earlier before this recording a little bit about your background, which is fascinating to me. And I'd love for you to share with anybody listening and watching. Tell us a little bit about that, your personal background, how you're connected to Jewish life there, and just how you came to be in the role that you have right now.
So I am 48 years old, and I was born in a Jewish family during the communist times in 1977. But when I was growing up, I didn't know that I'm Jewish. Even my grandparents were survivors, and my grandmother also survived, concentration camps and Auschwitz. But when I was growing up till my age 12, 13, till the Velvet Revolution in former Czechoslovakia, we celebrated Christmas and Easter, and I didn't know much about, nothing about the Jewish life. As you know, my grandmother also spoke half German, half Czech, reading strange books, eating different food, and the family gathered always on weekends together. So later on, after the Velvet Revolution, my grandfather became the executive director of the Jewish community in one of the small Jewish communities, and we started to go to the Jewish community, and that's how we became involved. And later on, I took some positions, and at the end, I was studying 1 year in Israel, so at the Hebrew U in 1999-2000, which was a very peaceful time that year. And after that, later on, I took some positions, and now I'm the president of the Federation of Jewish Communities in the Czech Republic.
So it's interesting to me how you came from a background where you really didn't know anything, and now you're fully immersed in Jewish life. You've studied in Israel. What is it that drove you towards that versus just kind of knowing that it was in the background of your life?
One of the parts were that my grandfather, when I graduated my MA, and then I went for 1 year of studies in Stockholm at Hadera, and I came back and I was just thinking what to do, and he told me that I should start, to work for the Jewish community. And that time, in the leadership of the community, there were only 5 retired people, most of them survivors. And I thought that because I came from the Jewish studies background, last year I was at Hadera in Stockholm, so I thought it's a good idea. Even I had the MA in economics, and that's how I started to work for the community. And also I had some change in my life, so I started to be more religious, and I went for the Jewish roots, which were mine.
I guess what we're here to unpack a little bit is the relationship between the community in the Czech Republic and Israel. How did that all come together for you? What is the driving force that connects the Jewish community there with the people of Israel? How does that look to you? I mean, you studied there. You obviously studied Hebrew, speak Hebrew. I'm assuming you're fairly fluent in Hebrew.
I studied in English,
What does that feel like to you? What do you think connects the Jewish community in Prague or in the Czech Republic with the Jews of Israel?
I think that even the community is very small. It's I mean, most of them are Zionists. The community even before Shoah was some parts of the community very, very Zionist. So people, even when some of them they never visited Israel. They still long to Israel, and then they're interested into Israel. And of course, some of the people they travel often to Israel. There's not a big aliyah to Israel because maybe the life in Czech Republic for Jews is quite good, I would say, till even now. But there is a very large connection, and we are also, hopefully, with this partnership, we are working, to have more connection on the youth and other parts of the community. So regarding the Jewish community, the members of the Jewish community, there's a important bond for sure between Czech and Israel.
That's awesome. So, Dalia, tell us a little bit about yourself and the role that you play, and how you became connected with the Jewish community in the Czech Republic.
I started to be the co-chair half a year ago. All this connection with the Federation in US and in the Czech Republic, it's very special because I understand and I know that this connection is the root of our Jewish all over the world. We need this connection to be strong. So each time that I spoke with some of us partners at the other federation, for me, I'm really excited for that because it's very special for me. So I've been with my family in Prague in the summer, in August. And we asked from Peter and Teresa, maybe if we can meet them, but they was on vacation, so we met Andre. He give us a fabulous tour in the city hall of the Jewish Federation. It was very special because it's beautiful building and beautiful place and very historical.
Dalia, what was emotional particularly for you about it? What made it that emotional?
When I visit in the Jewish historical places in Europe, especially in Europe, because it was very long time ago, and I see all the places that my father and the grandfather and the great-grandfather was there. My family came from Germany, so it's not far away from there. I feel the connection to the place. I feel the connection to this building. I can see the synagogue inside. I can imagine how the Jewish was there many years ago, and it's make me even proud to be proud of this special place and this special people that was there and still there. And very strong people that are still there. The Jewish Federation are very strong in the Czech Republic, and I think it's make me proud.
I've never been. I hope someday to visit. I've heard lots of beautiful things about Prague in particular, but also the country as a whole. What was a highlight for you in addition to visiting the synagogue and really kind of absorbing the sense of history and the connection? What were some highlights?
Wow, more than one. I've been with my husband and 3 of my children. I have 4 children. 2 of them are in the army, and I have twins that are 17, twins girls. And we travel all around in Prague, but especially in all the Jewish places. The first that was very special to me, it was a wall with the pictures of the hostages. And when we traveled there and we saw that, we feel that the community in Prague, and not just the Jewish community, I think it's all the community, all the people in Prague are feeling their care from for the hostages, the Israeli hostages. So was very special for us. And visiting in the city hall was actually, the synagogue there was very intimate and very special place. And I look at my husband faces, and he was glowing when he was there. It's very small place, but it feels like home inside. The third place was upstairs,
Yes.
the meeting room, Peter.
I know that room very well.
Yeah, the meeting room, it's it's beautiful and very special room. I think it was a Franz Joseph, the picture of Franz Joseph on the wall, and it's looked like...
It was originally Beit Din, room, so...
Yeah, it was really a special room. And
I can really
hear,
I've never been there, but you're painting a very vivid picture for me about the community there and about the synagogue and about the offices. And I can really visualize it, which I think is lovely that you're able to share that in such a specific way, which I think is kind of why we're all here, is to let everybody else know more about it. And you touched on something that is kind of my next topic that I want to dive into a little bit, which is something we can't ignore. And Peter, you're wearing the yellow ribbon, is the hostages on October 7th and sort of what that's meant for the relationship and also the community in the Czech Republic. Peter, why don't you tell us a little bit about what happened in your community on October 7th and after, and how it's unfolded and how people there feel. And then I'd love to also learn more about how the non-Jewish community is relating to that.
So, of course, the first reaction was a shock, like for everybody, because it was on Hagim. Some people were their phones were turned off, and because in Galut you have 2 days Hag, so it was a shock. And then we were trying to help as many communities in outside in diaspora. So we were trying to fundraise money. We were trying, also at the beginning there were many initiatives how to send material, the physical material and anything what was needed that time in Israel. We were in touch with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs because there were evacuation flights from Israel of Czech citizens, who were stuck there, and we were able to help the Israelis, or the Israeli students, mainly the Israeli students who were studying here in the Czech Republic, to board these flights and be moved to Israel, because they were most of the flights were of course shut down. So we were trying to help as we could, and we did something small. So and regarding the general public, at the beginning and until now, it's very supportive. But of course, unfortunately, when the time is passing, everything is changing also here in Czech Republic. But still, it's very supportive. And I remember that there were Israeli flags flying all over the place, town halls, parliament, all these governmental bodies. They put up the Israeli flags, and even in a small towns, when you went, some of the towns are 50,000 citizens, but you came to this city and on the town hall there was an Israeli flag. So you felt that the people understand that something horrible happened, and they wanted to show the solidarity.
Why do you think there is such a strong awareness in the Czech Republic about October 7th? Is there still that consciousness about what happened during the Holocaust and in the years since, and the richness of the community before? Or is it a more modern view of the relationship between the Czech Republic and Israel?
There are many ways how to look at this issue, but for sure, Czech Republic after the 90s was a country very supportive of Israel. And it comes also to the time when the Czechoslovakia was founded in 1918. The first Czechoslovakian president, Tomáš Garrigue-Masaryk, was the first president of independent Czechoslovakia, and he was very supportive of Jewish causes. He was during the Habsburg monarchy. He was defending one Jew who was accused of a blood libel, and then he was one of the first presidents visiting Jerusalem in 1925. Then after 45, when Israel was established and it was discussed in the United Nations, the voting about establishing the state. So Jan Masaryk, his son, was the representative of the Czechoslovakia to the United Nations, and he was one of the most supportive people there. Then during the communist times, it changed because we were under the Soviet bloc, and of course the Soviet Union and also Czechoslovakia was supporting even military the Arab countries. And on the other hand, the Czech society, which was living under dictatorship, and many people who hated the way when they lived in, they also didn't like that they are supporting the Arab states against Israel, And everything changed after 1990 when Václav Havel, the first Czech president after the Velvet Revolution, one of his first trips was to Israel to establish diplomatic ties with Israel. I think my grandfather was also on the flight, when he took a part of the community there. And that was also done by many governments, after the 1990 who really were very supportive of Israel. So there's a long history, and we are happy that it continues, even that the situation is getting harder and harder. And of course, we have voices here in Czech Republic who are against it. Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm learning so much from you during this conversation as well, because obviously in this country, our knowledge of the situation and what we're taught in schools is very limited to sort of the big picture. So it's good to get the details. You mentioned, I guess, that there's a lot of Israelis studying there. And I want to ask Dalia, what drives people in Israel, students, to want to go study in the Czech Republic? Where does that come from, that draw?
It depends. I think some of the reason is the high cost of the studies in Israel. So I think there's a lot of different kind of study that they can take in Czech Republic and other cities in Europe, then to take it to learn it in Israel. And the other reason, a lot of Israelis have a foreigner passport, so they can learn in cities in other country in Europe. So it gives them some opportunity to learn things that they can't learn in Israel.
But, the Czech Republic has a very specific meaning for the Jewish community. And so it's interesting that they choose that. I don't know, Peter, if you interact much with the Israeli students when they're there, what are some of their impressions that you've noticed?
As Dalia said, it's much cheaper here than in Western countries. If you study for a doctor, you pay, let's say, $70,000 per year, and here you pay $30,000 per year. So there's a big difference.
Yeah. Practical advantage.
They feel much safer here in Czech Republic and in the Central Europe. I spoke just with one student who enrolled to the first year, and he said that he spoke with some other people who were in Italy and other places, and they were harassed there, as Israeli students, So and Czech Republic is really seen as a safe country, and the living is good here, and it's not so expensive, and the quality of the studies are on a high level. So it's a good combination for everybody.
Yeah, no, it's, and it's interesting. You touched on this concept of safety, which we can't really ignore given the rise in anti-Semitism that's going on all over the world, in particular since October 7th. We have it here in the United States. We have it here in Nashville. I'm assuming that there's some aspects of that, obviously, as you touched on, throughout Europe. And I guess my question for you, Peter, is what is going on in the Czech Republic now in terms of anti-Semitism? It sounds like it's maybe a safer place in the context of the greater European narrative. But can you give us some specifics about what's going on there? Is there a rise? Do you feel it? Have you experienced it?
Yeah, there is a change. I mean, we are experiencing something which we didn't experience before. There's a rise of anti-Semitism, especially online. But unfortunately, the problem is what is happening is that it's become more targeted and more specific, and it's also coming to the universities. So it's a change to compare what we didn't experience before. But as you said at the beginning of the question, is that compared to the other countries, we are still doing very well. But there is a change, and we in some of the parts you can see even vandalism, spraying. They sprayed a Jewish shop, 2 weeks ago. But these are individuals who are doing it. But unfortunately, you have also organizations who are trying to unfortunately be pro-Palestinian, but they are unfortunately anti-Semitic.
Right. So much like what we're seeing, maybe to a lesser degree, I guess it's kind of happening all over the world, as I said, and we're all feeling it in some way. I wanted to ask you, it's not on my official questions, but I'm curious, because you touched on the concept of what's happening on college campuses. What are you seeing there on college campuses? I know, for example, here, we have lots of universities in the greater Nashville area, and a Hillel organization, and most of the schools in our area are handling it pretty well. There have been flare-ups, as you mentioned, a lot of it on social media. What are you seeing there, and how are the schools there handling it?
So luckily, it's not. It's a marginal issue, but we are worried that it will grow in the future. But as we have very few Czech Jewish students, because the community is very small, but we see small organizations of students, or even foreign students who come here, from Europe, who want to be really pro-Palestinian, but in the way of that they conduct much anti-Semitism around the universities. So the universities are still don't understand what is happening, but it's not at all how it is in the Western countries. It's very small, it's limited. Once in a while are some happenings or events, but it doesn't get much attention till now, and luckily, even the Israeli students, there was no major incidents what would happen, for them, during the last 3 years, I would say.
I did want to turn to something a little more cheerful, because we're obviously here to highlight the work of our partnership consortium and our particular region, which I think a lot of people who might be tuning into these podcasts are learning for the first time a lot of the work of the partnership. So what does it mean to be part of this partnership?
I think that nowadays, especially, it's the most important is the connection that we are experiencing the problem of the other, as we say, like the Europeans and the Israelis, let's say. So it's important to meet, because sometimes we think that we know what are the problems of the Israelis, or the Israelis know what are the problems of the Jews in diaspora, but it's not like that. Where we have maybe some projections and thoughts and so on, but we have to understand each other more, and this is happening through the connection. So when you have exchange programs and people visit Israel, and then the Israelis, teenagers and the families of other people visit Prague, that's how you make the connection real, and that's how you can experience the problems of the other, of the other part of the family. So that's what, from my point of view, is the most important, especially of the 7th October, because the views of Jews all over the world were looking differently on different issues, and I believe that it's helping us, to understand the situation more. And also, on the other hand, when I look to the Israeli community in Prague, the bond is much stronger after the 7th October. So it's also connected with the relationship with Israel and Israelis.
Thanks. I think you're right. Dalia, what's it been like for you to be part of this partnership on the Israeli side? Because we're all kind of looking to, that's our collective homeland, and you're there. What does it mean to you to know that there's this partners around the world that are trying to connect with you?
I think it's give us a lot of strength to know that we have brother and sister all over the world that care about us, but that's not the reason. I think the connection to do things together, it's the real issue, because we need to know the other side of the ocean, the other side of the Jewish people in Europe. We need to know them, because the history and the story of the Jewish people have a lot of small stories around the world, and we need to know everything. We need to know what's going on in the other side of the world, with our brothers, other side in Europe and the US and even Australia. I don't know, but I think it's important to know about each one of the communities, to share our stories. This connection makes us stronger, and we need that. We need it all, not just the Israeli people. We all need that. We all need this connection to be strong, to be with the hope, because I think it's not good days now. It's very hard days for us, for all of us. And this feeling that we're not alone and we're all together, and it's not a matter where have you been and what are you doing. Where you are care for us and we are care for what's going on with you. So I think this is the reason that I'm here, and this is the reason that we're doing this, because this connection and this partnership, actually, this is make us stronger.
No, I think you're right. I know that for us here in the US, we're so far removed from it that it really takes conscious effort and thought and planning to be able to have that connection, whether it's a mission trip or a partnership program that connects us to Peter's community or our partners, our family members in the region itself. Dalia, it takes a lot of work, and I guess it's like any family, right? If you want to stay connected to people all over the world who are in your family, you have to really plan it and think it through. Peter, are there some specific programs that your community has done as part of its role in the partnership that you'd like to share or highlight that everybody should know about?
So there were exchange programs of the teenagers. We were happy to hold the leadership of the partnership also in Prague once. And we are hopefully doing it in the future, so these are the most important things for us. And also we had some online events, which were spread around the whole Czech Republic, because, once it's a Prague where you have the largest community, where you have the strongest community, you have a Jewish school, you have a retirement house, but we have also communities outside Prague. We have 8 communities outside Prague, and that's what was amazing, that we could spread the information about different online events, and projects, and people could participate also, not physically, but to be online through the whole Czech Republic, So.
Sure. I want to circle back a minute, because you touched on 8 different communities throughout the Czech Republic. How big are each of those other communities, or how small, and what's the makeup of them? Are they traditionally Orthodox? Are they mostly older people? Tell us a little bit about that.
There are 3,000 Jews registered the whole Czech Republic in 9 Jewish communities, and of course the largest is Prague, which is more than 1,500 members. Then Brno is the second one with more than 300 people. I come from Olomouc, which is 140 people, and the smallest one has like 50, 60 members. So the communities have different problems, but most of them, they are suffering of loss of future members in future time, and some of them are very active, and some of them unfortunately will die out, in 10, 20 years. But we are trying to have at least in the future to have the core a number of people who have a strong Jewish identity and who will hold and will continue and who will build up. And of course, we have Orthodox communities, we have also liberal communities. We have also affiliated organizations which are not recognized as a Jewish organization, but a civil organization. And they have different activities like the Czech Union of Jewish Students, Hakoach Sport Club, and other organizations. So it's a diverse community. And of course, we have a lot of Jews and Israelis who live in the Czech Republic, and they are not affiliated, they are not members. But their numbers we can just estimate. But for example, in my city, there are about almost 100 Israeli students studying medicine there.
When you think about all the Israelis who want to be part of that community and be connected and want to go there, I think that's for all the reasons that you and Dalia have discussed. But I think also the fact that they're seeking out that connection around the holidays is really important and really impactful. So I wanted to take a little bit of time with some of the time we have left to talk about the future. I know that Peter, you've mentioned the community there is got some future challenges, looking ahead in terms of growth and sustenance, and the partnership is sort of we sort of view it as part and parcel of helping to sustain that effort and grow that effort. So what's the ask, right? Like, what can we all do to help you in your effort to both grow and sustain Jewish life in the Czech Republic? Because it's a heavy lift and one person can't shoulder it all.
The help is that when people come and there are many people who are coming, as a tourists or visitors, and they are interested or they interact, when we are able to also serve them, when the Israeli students were after the 7th of October, almost 3 years ago, we were able to help the students, and to make gatherings for them. So the interaction is very, very, very important. So I believe that when people come and they visit and they want to be in connection, that also helps the local community, because it gives a different drive. When you have a community with number of people, which is not so good in the perspective of the future, and then there is another influx of something positive, from another part of the Jewish family. It helps a lot, and it's changing the reality of the local communities.
Have you noticed that obviously the Israeli students who come there, they go back to Israel, I would imagine.
Not all
very
of them.
few of them. So you do have some who stay in the community?
No, I mean, they stay in Europe, for example, or there are also some of them who stay in Czech Republic, and they even learn the language and they stay and they become doctors here, mainly because they found a partner here, So that's one of the reasons. But I know students who are moving to Vienna, to Austria, to other countries,
So in terms of growth, though, obviously there's not, you can't always look to the students coming in to stay, because who knows? But are the young people who are there, whatever few that there are, do they tend to stay in the communities there, or do they leave?
The issue is the most probable issues for the small communities, because a lot of them, they go to Prague or they go to other big cities, So the small communities. So you have to always divide it. The Prague community is different than outside Prague. But even the Prague community is holding the same number, but the assimilation and the issue of membership, the number of members in the future could be complicated in 20, 30 years. It will be maybe interesting if some Jews from Europe would feel that Czech Republic is a safe place and they will move in. So it would also for sure help. But still, the community in Prague has a school with 300 kids. There's a retirement house. There are a lot of activities happening, and I believe that we are trying to. We have a summer camp. We are organizing summer camps where we have 70 kids. In the summer, we also send the kids to the Sarvash, which is international summer camp. So things are happening, and hopefully it will have some impact on the future.
Well, you mentioned camp, and of course, I'm a camper from, I don't know, I started going to Jewish summer camp when I was very, very young, spent my whole life in it, raised my kids in it. That has a huge impact. Jewish summer camps are very impactful to keeping kids connected and solidifying their identity as Jews as they get older. But if you could like think outside the box, dream a big dream for how the partnership could help in this effort or in any effort, what is like your dream project or initiative that you'd like to see the partnership develop to help you?
My dream is to have a place where this camp will happen, and it will be our place, because I mean, we always hire a place and we have to kosher the place and all these things, and it's complicated. So if the federation would have a place where the families could change and the camps could go more turnuses, that would be great.
That's fantastic. Dalia, what about you? What if you could think about anything that you would like to see the partnership take on, or a project or some kind of initiative? What would that be for you?
I think we need more delegation that will come to visit in Israel. I know it's not quite feeling like a safe time, but I think this is make a very big difference for more for the youngest, for the teens that came to Israel, because when you came here and visit all the places, and you feel safe in Israel, not like you hear in the news. So when they come to visit here and going around, they feel the connection to Israel. It's make the big difference. I met families that they young, or some of the kids came to Israel in delegation, and they told me how it was life-changing for all the family, for all the brother and sister and the parents too. So if I have a dream, I think I want more. Yeah.
Okay, so everybody, you heard it here, a summer camp relationship between the Czech Republic community and Israel. So let's make that happen. Peter, does your community send mission trips, or have you sent mission groups to Israel?
Yes, there were. We didn't organize our own, but as we are a small community, but people joined different missions, and I was, of course, on missions organized by the World Jewish Congress, European Jewish Congress, with the AJC, and so on. So I was in Israel many times after the 7th of October. Yeah.
Sure. Well, and I think, Dalia, you make a really good point. I know our community is working on organizing maybe 2 in the next, 6 months, trying to put together some trips. We've already sent some folks there. In the past, I've been on mission trips to Israel, and it is really impactful. In addition to kind of the regular vacation and my team trip to Israel decades ago. But those trips do make a difference. And particularly, for any age, but particularly for young people, to be able to feel
Exactly.
And each of my children has gone, and they come back, and each one says, I felt like I was home. I got off the plane. I felt like I was home.
No, I can say that even the horrible and bad things can have some light, and I have to say that the terrorist attack of the 7th of October really made the bond of the, I think, most of the diaspora Jews and with Israel and the Israelis much stronger, and that is something which is hopeful for the future. That we are on the same boat. It doesn't matter if we sit in States, in Europe, or in Israel. Unfortunately, they look at us as a Jews, all over the place. With all these consequences. So this is, from my point of view, important that we are not alone, and we are together on it, and we should continue and be much stronger.
Dalia, how about you? What are some final words that you'd like to leave us with?
First of all, I want to share with Peter how much it's important to us that the Czech Republic will be the federation, the Jewish Federation of Czech Republic is in our partnership. It's very important to us, and I think it's important not just for the Israeli side. It's important to all the federation in the United States, and for us, it's like I said before, it's one a special community that it's not the same like the others, but it's very special for us and for our hearts. And the special connection between Israel and the Czech Republic, it's something that we really share and care about it. And about the partnership, I think for all of the Jewish Federation in the partnership and all the people that are connection in all on all kind of our programs, we are care for each other, and we are want to be all the time connect each one between us. We have to be together, and we have to be strong together, and we have to be care about each other and to show that we care, because we need this power. And I used to say it's like a hand that each one of the
Fingers?
Fingers, yeah, each one of the fingers, not so strong, but together we are strong. So this is the reason that we have to be together.
I
all
love
the time.
that. I love that image. I'm going to steal it someday. But I love that. I love that. And I can't thank the two of you enough. We have been speaking. First of all, I'm so honored to take this time with you and to be asked to share this conversation and to lead this conversation. I've learned so much from both of you about your various communities and the value of the partnership and how we all are connected. And I feel really grateful for that opportunity. I want to remind everybody, we've been speaking with Peter Papushek, who's president of the Jewish Federation in the Czech Republic, and Dalia Lahmany, who's chair of our partnership community in Hadera-Eiron. You've been listening to the podcast, What Makes Us a Family. I want to thank you both for your insights. Peter, we're so grateful for the continuing friendship between the Czech Republic. We're grateful and honored for the work that you do in keeping our community alive there, keeping our people growing, and always moving forward towards the future. It's really essential, the work that you do. And I hope that those of you who are listening to the podcast or viewing this will explore more of these podcasts and think more about the connections that we have. Get involved in your communities, because there's a lot of work to be done in our region and beyond. As you've seen, there's a lot of work to be done in Israel and of course in Europe as well. We gotta send more young people to the Czech Republic and build that community up. We have to get camps, a place for summer camps for kids. So there's a lot to do. Stay tuned in your communities. Want to thank our local Jewish Federations. Partnership2Gether, or P2G, is an initiative of the Jewish Agency for Israel. It's made possible through generous gifts to your local Jewish Federation. So give generously and think about the partnership as you're planning your year-end giving. To learn more about P2G, reach out to your own Jewish Federation. And of course, if you have any questions, those are the folks who can help you learn more. For any and all other questions, again, check out your Jewish Federation. And again, I'm Barbara Dabb. I'm Chief Communications Officer of the Jewish Federation of Greater Nashville, editor of the Jewish Observer newspaper. Thrilled to be your host today. And I wish you all shalom, lehitraot. If this is before the holidays, Shana Tova. If it's after the holidays, I hope you had a lovely and a sweet New Year celebration, and we wish you all the best in the coming year. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Barbara. Shana Tova.
Thank you very much.